The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, the first part of the now classic trilogy, which is perhaps the most successful book to film adaptation of all time, and certainly it is in the fantasy genre. Winner of 4 Oscars, cinematography, makeup, music, and visual effects, was also nominated in 9 more categories: Best Picture, Best Director, Screenplay, Editing, Sound, Set Decoration, Costume Design, Supporting Actor for Ian McKellen, and Original Song for Enya. To this day, I still distinctly remember my first contact with this film. I went to the movie theater with my dad to see the first Harry Potter movie. I was 9 years old at the time, huge fan of the then ongoing book series, very excited for the first film. My dad didn't care for it as much, but he went with me. And then we saw this huge cardboard cutout of the Lord of the Rings poster at the theater. I was intrigued. It looked like another fantasy thing, which was my thing at the time. And I asked my dad, what was it? And he got a bit more excited and started telling me about this great series of books and how this was an adaptation and how we can also go see it if I want. And I was like, sounds like a ripoff of Harry Potter, but okay, we can go. And my dad was a bit angry and said, yeah, now we have to go. I have to show you. And of course, the film, as the next two as well, blew my mind, as it did with everyone else, I think, who saw it back then. And I love these movies to this day. As much as I outgrew Harry Potter, and I will say that the films never were as consistently good in the first place, Lord of the Rings remains an absolute gold standard for fantasy, and I don't think this will ever change, because these films are timeless. The themes explored are quite universal, the characters are fantastically written, there's a wonderful sense of an epic tale being told, the performances are great, and even the special effects are only just now starting to age. I've noticed that stuff like Galadriel turning scary, or Frodo's experiences in the spirit realm when putting on the ring, they don't look as good as they used to, but for the most part, the film's visual side is still incredible, thanks to the attention to detail, using a lot of practical effects instead of CGI whenever possible, and shooting largely on location in New Zealand. I also love the fact, I mean, comparing it to a lot of modern day fantasy adaptations of other books, what strikes me is that it takes the language as it was in the books, and that also makes it timeless, because it doesn't use any anachronisms, any jokes from the time it was made. It feels like it could have been made at any time, and it will remain timeless. It won't be dated by its language. And in general, it's made with a lot of love, care, and respect towards the source material. And that does not mean it's a 100% faithful adaptation, because some plot lines are dropped, some characters have smaller roles, and some bigger. Some things are changed or added, but it all serves the story. It all helps to tell this story the best possible way in the medium of film. It also has spectacular music, a great sense of adventure, terrific pacing for an almost 3 hour movie, or even longer if you watch the extended edition, which I do recommend. I mean, I could talk about it at greater length even, but it all comes down to one thing. Fellowship is a spectacular film, even 20 years after its original release, and I think it will remain a spectacular film forever. An absolute classic, to be sure.